position to be in.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
Great. Oh, look at us. Oh, we're now the comic book swole down. Oh yeah.
There it is. Head over to our YouTube channel to see this fucking meat, baby. It's just 4 windows of meat.
You know, maybe we should have put that on a separate recording and made that part of our Patreon.
Oh, Patreon is just us flexing for 12 minutes while screaming about Rebel Moon. That sounds about right.
Screaming at Rebel Moon.
Oh, man. Brothers, sisters, gender resistors, welcome once again to one of many podcasts on Planet Goddamn Earth, where we review anything and everything that's on Joey's stupid arbitrary list of comic book and today Star Wars paraphernalias. Real quick, if I can. One, been watching rugby all day, so I'm all horned up, ready to go. Two, Jordan watched Nightcrawler. What the fuck was that?
Oh, dude, did you like it?
Dude, it was really good. Highly recommend it. If you've never seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody. Well worth the $3, $4 I spent to rent it off Amazon.
That's the Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Yeah. Okay. Jake Gyllenhaal, amazing actor, but I argue this is his best role only because of the range and the weirdness and like it's such a crazy role.
It is unsettling. I think is the easiest way to put it. It's like the entire movie. You're just like, I don't understand why he's acting this way. There needs to be an ulterior motive. And then it just gets weirder. And then also, apparently, Bill Paxton is in it.
Yes, Bill Paxton's in it. I know before he passed away. And then what's crazy too is the music in it is so a juxtaposition because you're watching something on screen that'll be kind of morbid and disturbing and weird, but there'll be this like uplifting music in the background. It just adds to the eeriness of it all. It's a great film.
It's very good. Highly recommend it. Everybody go watch it. It was Oscar nominated too. It said on the thing too.
Yeah, I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. I still haven't watched The Bear yet, so I'll get around to that. But you know,
dude, it just got nominated for like all of the Oscars.
Every single one.
It has the highest number of nominations in recorded history.
Wouldn't it be the Emmys though?
Or Emmys, not Oscars. Yeah. I apologize. You're right. Yes, Emmys. That's what it was. Listen, they're all the fucking same.
They are all the same.
Kind of are. Yeah.
I think it's going to get a Grammy too. Why not? Anyway, speaking of award-winning movies,
yes.
How do we want to handle this? Do we want to start with
do all the other ones?
Yeah, I watched Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, from 1980.
Now I'm having an existential crisis about this movie.
Okay.
Because I unlocked a very core memory in my brain, which I'll get into as we go on.
Okay.
But it's unsettling.
Okay.
Is it Luke making out with Leia?
If this isn't the hook, I don't know what it is.
The bet. Let's just get it. They fucked, right?
I mean,
like by the time that they figure out that they're brother and sister, they have had to have. They were way too like hanging on each other. I feel like trauma bond fucking was definitely going to happen at the end of this movie.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. My note for this was tonguing your brother isn't quite the flex you think it is.
Well, here's the thing.
But also, they didn't know at the time.
But
they
didn't.
I know.
Are you sure?
I know it's not Alabama, and that does actually count. But it doesn't. It's they didn't know.
Are we sure they didn't know though? Like deep down inside, because they're both force sensitive. Like,
well, okay. Here's the thing. Have you guys watched the documentary, the Man with 1,000 Kids? I think it's called on Netflix.
No.
Okay, so it's about this man in, I want to say it's Sweden, I think, or Norway. He travels across the world for the past 10 years being a sperm donor. He's birthed at least 600 children that they know of, probably more that aren't registered. And most of them are in Sweden. And the reason why this is an issue, there was like psychiatrists and stuff talking about people, because all these kids are going to like gay and lesbian couples or like people who have infertility problems. And he tells everyone, no, you're one of only 5 families I've donated to. So they're unaware that there's hundreds of his children out there in this area. And psychologists are saying children who are siblings are somewhat drawn to each other. And if they don't know their siblings, there's a huge potential they can be attracted to each other because they see something in that person that is also in them. And that's what we're all looking for. We're looking for someone who is similar enough to us that we would feel comfortable being with them. So it's very easy for these kids to end up having romantic relationships with their sibling, not knowing it all, because the statistic of them being attracted to that person is higher, which means that in this movie, it's proven that there is that higher statistical possibility that Luke and Leia would be attracted to each other because they are related, but unknown to that. Second part, they didn't tongue each other. I rewatched this. I'm like, it was a pretty steamy kiss, but there was no tongue. There was no tongue.
Luke definitely saw something that he wanted inside of Leia, and it was his tongue.
Anyway, I'll say this. I've got a second cousin.
Oh no!
Told me years
Whoa! Hold on.
He told me years ago because my mother's side is a Myers, and here in the Midwest, Myers is big around here. So he would go to his dad, and he would be like, "All right, so I like this girl. What's the family tree? Is she related to me?"
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, she was.
Oof.
So he had to not pursue that.
Well, that's what's hard about these kids now. Pretty much in Sweden, if you are an adopted child, you have to go through your family trees with someone else if they're also adopted. That's a question you have to ask on a first date. I was like, are you also adopted?
If so, let's go down.
Exactly.
No, Joe, you don't want to go down. That's the opposite of what you want to do if they find out they're related.
I cut my sentence short. Sorry. I apologize.
So
realistically speaking, on an episode that has yet to air, and who knows if it'll ever get released on Elite Eight Showdown, Tim and I have a very legitimate conversation about incest and whether, is it icky? Sure.
Is it because
icky.
Tim found one of his cousins hot?
No.
Okay.
I don't even remember how it actually came up, but the argument was who are we to stand in the way of love if they are in agreement that they do not want to procreate?
That's a fair point.
And Tim was real hard on it too. He was like, if they want to fuck and they're related, then that's okay. And I'm just like, dude, all right. I don't know really what's going on here, but he's like, if they don't want to have kids, then why does it matter? Why does it matter?
My body, my choice, right?
Why should the government be involved? And I was just like, this is insane. You're crazy.
Okay, in Tim's defense on that one, though, the biggest problem with incest is the procreation. So if they weren't planning on if they aren't going to have kids, then I guess he's got a point. But also, that's your cousin, and that's kind of weird. So.
I was gonna say that's a Jedi level of being able to control your mind in the situation, because I couldn't put that past in the back enough far in my mind to be able to do anything with that. So,
Joe Dirt, I'm your sister. Oh.
He did bring up actual really good evidence saying that the only reason why incest ever became actually outlawed was because of the birth defects, because for the longest time keeping your bloodline in the family pure and good, and that was the thing the English
look at royalty
empire did did for a very long time.
They're not all drooling idiots.
Great for them.
So anyway, we watched Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. What's the body count here on times you've seen this movie? And have you fucked to it, Joey, specifically, as we learned from New Hope?
I don't think I've fucked to this one.
Really? Because I feel like Empire Strikes Back would be a perfect doggy.
I feel like this is the best level. This is the horniest one, no?
Yeah, and it's also there's a lot of downtime in between exciting scenes, so you'd have a lot of time to kill.
I forgot how long this movie goes.
It's very long.
Yeah,
it's just over 2 hours. Not that long.
It feels longer.
Long. Yeah, it feels way longer.
That's also what she said.
Well, I'm glad she says that. But
that's very nice of her.
Jerry, they can confirm.
Yeah, I feel like the problem with this movie is that you have such exciting scenes. There's 3 exciting scenes, and everything in between. It's almost like when you've seen the movie, it feels longer because you're just waiting to go from Hoth battle
in the scene,
to the asteroid belt to the lightsaber
To
fight.
Dagobah to
I
yeah.
don't
Okay,
even care about
but-
Dagobah. I used to fast forward through Dagobah when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, whatever. I don't care about Yoda.
But speaking of
Wow.
Hoth, how is it that 3PO was the only person that noticed that Luke was missing? Nobody else noticed that
Poor
he was
organization.
gone.
Dude, you've worked at a company. Nobody
I
knows
guess
when
that's
anyone's
fair.
off that day.
That's
Like, you'd be like,
fair.
hey, has this person come in? Nope, they haven't been here all day. Why aren't they on PTO
Well, 'cause
then on the calendar?
also Han is too worried about trying to stir
Get
up
the
I'm sorry.
fuck out
What
of
was
there.
his name?
emotions.
What'd you just say?
Han?
Han? It's
Han.
Han. The entire
Han.
movie they call him Han Solo.
Didn't they call him Han in the first one though?
Yeah, they
So,
do.
this is
But
my
this
theory.
entire movie they call him Han.
This is my
And
theory.
it's
Why?
so
Lando
glass
does,
breaking
but-
for me.
Everybody
Everybody does.
No.
Yes.
No.
This is
Yes.
my theory. This is my theory on why I think some of the like dialogue is kind of weird in this one is because I believe was it Irving Kershner's the one who directed this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
believe he was the one who decided, okay, to tell them apart, we're going to have, they're all British actors, but the Imperials are going to speak in a British accent and the Rebels are going to speak in an American accent. And there were a bunch of British people that didn't really know how to do a good American accent trying to do it. And I think that's why a lot of the dialogue is weird on that side.
Well, yeah, all of the rebels were British actors, and well, not all of them, because one of them was what's his name?
Harrison Ford,
Um,
Mark Hamill.
No, the
Harry
Ratzensberger,
Fisher.
John Ratzensberger. Is that his name?
Is
the-
he in this?
Yes, he is one of the rebels.
Don't remember
So
that.
he's the one, which I have actually written in notes, when the one rebel guy comes up to talk to him to say that Han and Luke haven't been seen, haven't come back yet. And he's the one that kind of stops him because Leia is right there. That's John. I think it's Ratzensberger, right? Is that his name?
That sounds super
He
familiar.
does,
but I
he
don't-
does Ham on Toy Story. He does.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's in every Pixar
he's all the
movie.
he's all the
He's
Pixar stuff.
Mac. He's in
Yeah.
Bug's Life.
What I love about that scene though is that he stops him from talking, from finishing a sentence. They both look directly at Leia as they're looking at him, and they both say the line directly to her. Like, yeah, they're not here. We don't know where they're at. And she's just like, "What the fuck are you two doing?" Like,
Why
you don't have
do
to
I
tell
not
me that. I
remember
already
being-
know.
Why don't I remember that
Well-
being Piggy?
But that's the thing. His voice got dubbed over.
Oh, that's probably
Like
why his voice is so iconic.
majority of the rebel voices, because they were British actors trying to do an American accent, they all got dubbed over.
Yeah, that's why I think that the dialogue's weird in this movie. That's my
Seems
theory.
legit.
I have some problems with Hoth scenes though. First thing, they said the reason that they didn't have the speeders ready yet to go out to look for Luke was because they were getting them ready for the cold, like they weren't prepared for the cold. These speeders are literally called snow speeders. Why aren't they?
No, they're
always-
not actual snow speeders. That was the title that they gave them. They actually have like a code number, like imprint speeder name.
So then the colloquialism is wrong. I get X-wing.
Correct.
It looks like an X. I get a Y-wing.
Right.
It looks like a Y. If you're going to call something a snow speeder, it better be ready to be in the
It
snow.
was.
at all
I
times.
think it was known as a snow speeder
It is
by
a
fandom.
assault air speeder,
Yeah, that's what it is.
P-47 air speeder,
An AS speeder or something. Like that.
reconnaissance patrol aerial assault.
And I only know this because in the game Star Wars Legion, it has the like you can take one of these for the Rebel side, and it has like the actual name of the ship
Gotcha.
on
See,
the
it was-
box.
It was modified by the Rebel Alliance for the Hoth, basically.
See, I'm just a peon, and all I know is Rogue Squadron, which still called it a snow speeder when you selected
True.
it.
Sure,
Rogue Squadron
I've always
Squadron 2 in this, by the way.
Yes.
Rogue- yeah.
Rogue 2,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Rogue 2's in this.
Yeah,
Rogue
I've
One's
always known
got
as
Merc.
those speeder as well. Well, a lot of them did.
Then my other thing about Hoth that I talking about existential problems here. I never realized this, but when Han Solo's about to valiantly ride off out to save Luke Skywalker on a Tauntaun, he says, "Then I'll see you in hell." Which
Hell doesn't
brings up-
exist. We found that out in Acolyte.
I was going to say, which brings up the idea that now in the Star Wars universe, there is a belief
Christianity.
in heaven and hell when the main religious belief is about an all-powerful force around you that never talks about an afterlife, ever. It talks about being back one with the force. Why would anyone understand or even say the word hell? That should not exist. And I know in the Acolyte, she says it too, like, I'll see you in hell, to like reference.
I'll see you in hell, Jedi. And then people got all pissy about it. There's no hell in Star Wars.
What if it's a planet? What if it's just like the worst
It's
planet that
Mustafar.
you? It's like a prison planet you get
Mustafar.
sent
Dude,
to.
what if that? Okay, so the system is called Hoth. The planet's not necessarily called Hoth,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
what if that planet was called Hell, as in like Norse mythology? You know, frozen over, dead place.
So then he's literally being like, I'll see you later on this
Yeah.
planet when I get
Yeah,
back.
yeah, because he's cocky. You know.
I
it's
can
cocky.
dig that. I can dig that.
But I mean, hell is in a lot of religions, though. Like the
It is,
idea
but
of
not
hell.
in the religion of the Force. They never talk about an afterlife.
Not that we know of. But
we
but,
hear
but,
them talk about it all the time. Becoming one with the Force. You literally become nothing. You get sucked back into the life energy of the Force.
So
there is
that
no
is-
life after that.
that is Force ability people knowing that. Han's not Force, has no Force sensitivity. He has no Force ability. So
But I would
he
argue
could believe
that-
in hell.
I would argue that everyone in this universe believes in the Force because, like, kind of their like "peace be with you" is essentially "may the Force be with you."
But by this time in this universe and what's going on, the Force is basically 3 people.
Hmm.
So there's
So
no like
What
because
you're
if you
saying
remember
is in the
Tarkin it says in A New Hope that the Jedi and all these Force ability people are like it's an old religion that no one cares about, even though he is saying it right in front of Darth Vader and had just talked to the Emperor literally earlier that day. But
so in the absence of the religion of the Jedi, the mass community has adopted hell and heaven essentially then.
yeah, that's how we got Christianity.
Okay, it's fine. I just thought it was interesting.
I'm kidding, by
that-
the way.
I just thought it was
What?
interesting that hell.
See, what if you're thinking about this in the wrong way? And what if Han is actually a transplant from our universe into their universe?
Oh, he's like Back to the Futuring to the Star Wars universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
After his last crusade, he ended up in a galaxy far, far away.
No, this is what should have been the end of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Literally should have been him being sucked into the Star Wars universe. That would have
And
made
turned
the
into-
movie so
Maybe
much
what George
better.
was trying to do, and Spielberg was like, "No, that's too far out."
That would have been
there."
amazing. Ah,
All right,
There is
so
a
speaking-
fun little comic that I think it was Tales of the Jedi where Han and Chewie go through some portal and end up in our world thousands of years ago, and at the end of the issue, there's Chewie in this temple, staying like not with protecting Han's bones, and the temple is being raided by Indiana Jones.
Okay.
I can't remember what issue it is, but it actually is a comic issue with Indiana Jones and Han Solo in it.
this makes me so excited because what you just told me is essentially there's a Star Wars comic that is a Star Trek episode. So
Yeah,
that makes me so excited.
I believe I just got. I'm right now. Like what I just said is right according to Joey's comic logic there.
But we know that Indiana Jones exists because in Solo, like the memorabilia is behind the one dude.
That's
Yeah.
true.
What if he's
And-
a god?
and we see in Temple of Doom, we see it's what's the Cafe Obi-Wan or whatever, like whatever bar it is. Plus there is 3PO and R2D2 hieroglyphs on, I think, in the temple, if I remember correctly.
What's the
To be fair, it
movie-
is a galaxy far, far away, a long, long
But
time
speaking
ago,
of
so
movie
that's
jumping-
not here.
So at the beginning, when Han is first told that Luke hasn't come back yet, there is a droid that is behind him that looks like Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That'd be
Um,
okay. That's great.
I'm gonna finish off my Hoth thoughts here, and then I'll leave the floor to you guys since I've been taking it so much. Did anyone else think it was super gross? Even now today, when you cut open the tauntaun, those intestines are nasty. Like that is-
Yeah.
like still today, I'm like, ooh, that makes me a little queasy. I do not like that one bit.
Apparently, that was based off of something that the Native Americans did back in the day.
Yeah, like the
So,
horses, they would crawl
yeah.
inside in the winter. Yeah.
Just kind of keep themselves warm. So,
Mhm.
not it is gross because those intestines definitely look gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also the fact that a tauntaun, who you can assume has a thicker pelt than a human with a
Mhm.
coat,
Yes.
dies quicker than two people one who barely survived being attacked by a wampa.
Maybe okay, so maybe they're like horses, and because he was running it so hard, because like when horses work up a
Exhaustion.
sweat, yeah,
That's
like they
true.
work up that lather, and then if they worked up that lather, then they would get cold quicker because they
And
don't.
as cold as it'd be, it would freeze to them. And
Yeah, he just
okay.
like caused it because he was just running it. It had a heart attack.
Yeah, I think
What's
so.
Right?
what I just thought it would just drop dead.
But the one guy even said like your tauntaun will freeze before you get to the first marker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
but
don't
he
know.
was also
Also,
stupid. The rebels are
what were the
dumb.
odds of Han actually finding
so
Luke?
freaking astronomical. Like
Like-
how?
No way. R2D2 said 793 to 1. That's not that big.
Well, not only that, but like there's literally a snowstorm happening, and the snow is just shifting, like any path or track marker or anything. Like
yes.
he would have gotten lost. Like
Which
himself.
goes to prove that Han is actually force sensitive.
I would believe it.
Yeah, probably.
That's
I mean,
possible.
everybody's.
I think
It's
everyone's
like
a little
autism.
force
Everybody has
sensitive.
it
Yeah,
now. You know what I mean?
exactly. I think everyone. Yeah.
I will say that looking at the notes of the trivia on IMDb, apparently the scene where Luke is running away from the cave in the snowstorm, that was
Mhm.
actually him running through a snowstorm during filming, and Ivan Kershner was in the hotel filming him from like whatever room as he was running through an actual snowstorm.
It was
So.
kind of like what I thought, like the films that made us when Jurassic Park, they were like, oh, we got to Hawaii and then a hurricane hit and they had to like, that's how I felt about this movie. They're like, oh, we got to go film a blizzard scene. The minute they get there, a blizzard actually hits.
I definitely think they took advantage of that. They
Mhm.
filmed whatever they could.
Poor
with
Mark
those
Hamill.
scenes. Yeah.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
poor, actually. I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of money.
Yeah, maybe back then he might have been a little bit, but he was just starting to get the money
I
back
mean,
then.
by the second
He-
movie, I think he had some.
He probably got like 70,000 for that movie, which would be like 190,000 this year.
Yeah, but he also had a car accident like
I was just
a
going to say,
year
yeah,
after, so he had to pay medical bills.
The money went straight to his head. All that work he got.
Nah,
done on
see,
his
this
face.
was before 1984, so they still had decent medical insurance.
True.
I actually heard that I always was told that the Wampa attack was meant to explain why his face looks so
Nope.
different from the. But
False.
I guess that wasn't
It's
it.
false. Yeah, because he had the accident in 78, I believe.
Yeah.
And all the reconstruction surgery was done like within that year. That was just always part of the script.
Yeah.
Yes.
So interesting. Can we take a second just to just think about how awesome ship designs are in Star Wars? Because watching this, they introduced a few ships like the Executor and the Snow Speeders are so cool. The probe droids. I'm just like, man,
Our first
consistently-
time seeing the AT-ATs.
Yeah, the AT-ATs. I'm like,
And
consistently,
the
Star
AT-ATs.
Wars brings us these amazing looking vehicles.
Yeah.
Some of them are not great, but the majority of them are really good. And I'm a huge fan of that.
I remember as a kid watching this movie and seeing the AT-ATs, and I'm like, these are awesome. Like, I would just love to have something like that. It's
Practically,
fun to ride.
I've never thought they were a practical.
Oh, they're not. Well, so they're practical
not.
for like big battles from
No.
far away.
They're bad for this setting specifically.
Okay.
So there was this documentary I watched, like, The Warfare of Star Wars or something like that, which also leads into why this movie is the worst thing I've ever watched.
Interesting.
So the Battle of Hoth is my favorite scene of all time, and as they're covering of like, does this make sense for the Battle of Hoth? The Snow Speeders, that makes sense for the Battle of Hoth, but the ATs actually don't make any sense because it's a flat snow plain that they should have had was like treaded tank. which we see in a couple of other like settings and situations, because the just slow moving walking like theme wouldn't actually be beneficial. But when they're on Endor, the ATSTs and the ATATs make a lot of sense because they have to get over rocks and trees and stuff like that.
ATSTs especially because they're more for like close combat battles, and like in the woods it'd be perfect.
Right.
Yeah, Hoth, they should have done a lot more speed. I agree. Like just a treaded tank that goes really fast across the
especially when the one commander, I can't remember his name, he tells Vader's like, yeah, we're gonna have the shields down momentarily. 10 minutes later, like
well, and not only that, but like Veer is supposed to be this like genius, like warfare genius.
General Veer,
his strategy was fucking walk to him. What the fuck? Fucking orbital strike that shit. What are you doing?
Orbital strike.
When General Veers shows up, like after Vader's like sitting there, he is inside Vader's ass when Vader turns around. Like they are kissing close, and he was waiting.
There's
in
a moment
Vader's
where I was
ass.
waiting for Vader to go, "What the fuck?" Like, he like spins around really fast, and he's just like right there. Yeah,
they couldn't orbital strike because the shield generator was protecting the base from any orbital strike. So that's why they had to actually go down to take the shield generator out, which I thought maybe, and they didn't explain, is the AT-ATs had a thick enough armor that they could make it through the shield to take the shield generator out, and other vehicles maybe
they also might have been thick enough to withstand the cold temperatures.
That too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, so what we saw in Phantom Menace, where and even the Clone Wars, in the Clone Wars movie, a tank treaded or a treaded tank ship vehicle could have also gone through the barrier and done the same job.
True.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
The same as they attacked Kashyyyk with the snail looking things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that would have been like perfect.
I don't think. Well.
When they're coming through the water, don't they have the tank tread thing?
Yes.
They're going through the water. Yeah.
But that was also
wasn't the Imperials though. That was the Trade Federation who had that.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be adopting.
And they shut all that stuff down.
Yeah, you're right.
But still, they have to have.
You would think they would have adopted some of it, but whatever.
Yeah, they would have done some design of their own for that. Which, I don't know. I agree with you. That's why I'm saying like the ship designs are really cool in these movies and in Star Wars universe, but they're not always practical. More times than not, they're actually impractical. So this form over function, whatever, that's fine.
It does actually prompt a good point. What the fuck happens to the Separatist army, like in the droids and stuff? Would the Empire not do all that if they couldn't, or if they couldn't?
Doesn't in one of the Thrawn books, the like newer ones that are actually canon, didn't a bunch of Separatist droids that are on that planet with the Cortosis still, even when Anakin turns to Vader, right? Isn't there like a bunch of outer rim?
It's been so long since I've read those. I don't remember.
I think there's a bunch of outer rim, like kind of like drug lord type people that are still using those droids.
Well, and I know
because like
so the droids they get shut down. Yeah, we do. Yeah. They get shut down, at the end of the war, the Clone Wars, in the third one, and basically get put in storage. At least that's what they're supposed to do. Now I know post Return of the Jedi, they are basically being sold like on the black market, if you will. People will find them and repurpose them and make them, like I know in the Aftermath trilogy, the character who is what's his name in the actual sequel trilogy?
Maz Kanata.
No, it's Poe Dameron's friend, Greg, whatever his name from Heroes.
Wexler or something
the Hammer
like that.
Valentine?
No,
I think it's Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Is that
Rex? Is that his name from Heroes?
Yes, the dude from Heroes is like something Wexler or something like that.
Yeah,
whatever his name is.
Yep.
Whatever his name is. Like what the Aftermath trilogy it has him as a child, and he has a repurposed B1 battle droid as his like companion.
The funniest of all the battle droids.
The greatest. Roger.
I realized we didn't answer your question, Chuck, from 20 minutes ago. How many times have we watched this?
Yeah,
Everyone had sex
body
there.
count on this? Yeah. We just went into Hoth talk, so I was
Totally.
like,
That's
oh,
my
okay,
fault.
cool.
Sorry.
A lot. I've watched this a lot. I mean, I've
Yeah,
watched the original trilogy so many times.
I've probably seen it at least 10 times, if not more.
Yeah, I think I'm at like whatever. I think I said 9 for New Hope, and I definitely haven't watched this more than I've watched any of the others.
Hmm.
So yeah, right around 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm probably around like the 20 to 30 mark. I know I said for A New Hope like 100 times. What next month when we talk about Return of the Jedi, 100 times. This one wasn't as much in the rotation. I as a child, as an adult, this is obviously one of the more well written and directed of the trilogy. But it just, I think.
But
That's
as a kid, this was one of the ones that had the worst ending because everybody was sad.
Yeah,
Correct.
and it was slow and
I'm glad you brought that
as
up.
an adult, I love this. Like I love
Yeah.
that
because it makes you feel like real life.
Yeah, exactly.
That too.
I was thinking about that,
Which is why
honestly.
I like Infinity War or Endgame.
So Infinity War versus Endgame and stuff like that. As we become adults, do we find that like the second movie when it does end with like tragedy, where like the bad guy got his win back and all of those things from the first one, do you find that like the second ones are a lot better? Like a few exceptions, I always think of like Terminator 2 Judgment Day is like an objectively better than the first one. That's kind of like the one exception sequel of like a trilogy set. But like,
but Terminator wasn't set out to be a trilogy. With heck,
True.
was I think came after like, oh yeah, well we've got better technology now, we can do a sequel.
Well, I'd argue too. Terminator also is the same thing as the Alien franchise in the sense that like they started off as a horror film, and then the second movie you can't really compare. They're kind of apples and oranges because now they're action films.
Yeah, I would say the first Terminator was more action than horror.
Yeah, we just recently reviewed it. It's
I watched that not that long ago. That's a more horror film. There's an action scene at the end, but
there's action all the way throughout it. It's nothing but him shooting and.
The movie is essentially Halloween sci-fi edition.
Are you sure you watched the same Terminator that we watched?
Yeah, is it not just him stalking her the whole time and some people have sex and then the bad guy gets killed, but maybe not killed? That's Halloween.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Actually, that's a really good point. It is Halloween.
Now that he's broken it down like that,
why weren't you here 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah.
Terminator franchise is one of my favorites. We even
had this discussion that it had horror.
If I'd known that, I would have invited you for those.
I have the Blu-rays of the Sarah Connor Chronicles because I'm even a stand for that stuff.
Wow,
nice.
That's a deep cut.
I mean, look, if you want to come back for when we do the rest of the Terminators, you can.
Well, you've already done 1 and 2. What do I want to do now?
We've
only done 1.
I'll come back for 2. I love Judgment Day. That's like top 5, 10, maybe top 10 movies for sure.
I'll get a hold of you with the date for that one.
That's so good.
But speaking of droid, how many times are we gonna have to hear 3PO flex about knowing over 6 million forms of communication?
At least 2 more times. Actually, hold on. Definitely in Return.
Probably in Force Awakens.
I think in Force. I think also in Rise. I'm not sure he's around a lot in Last Jedi.
This is essentially the I Got a Bad Feeling droid version.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a question for you guys. This movie, I don't feel like suffered as much as A New Hope did with the tinkering with special effects in there.
Partly because Kirshner was pushing more of a character story, and which meant
there are still some spots though.
There are, but
because like they changed the flight into Cloud City, and
because we watched this on Disney Plus, and I'm assuming everybody watched it on Disney Plus, and they have these special editions on there. Like they don't have the original version.
What I mean is, there's still a lot of scenes that have the I guess you want to say, I don't want to say claymation, but the
stop motion.
Thank you, stop motion stuff in there, and I really appreciate that they didn't go back and try to pull that out and put in new scenes.
Smooth it up. Yeah.
I thought that it gives it gives it a good vibe.
Yes, but you could also say that like the AT-CATs in Rogue One looked good. Right?
In Rogue One. Yeah, why wouldn't they look good in Rogue One?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's the same. Are you talking about
no.
Which scenes are you talking about?
I'm talking
So-
about scenes like when the Tauntauns are running.
Okay. I thought
like-
you were referring more to the AT-ATs walking, because those
You can call them AT-ATs.
No,
I know.
the AT-ATs walking also stop motion.
Call them AT-AT.
Got refined. And
Well,
yeah,
I'm just glad they didn't like add more AT-ATs in. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Same.
to bulk it out and make it look bigger and stuff like that.
Well, then they would add the
feel
problem
like-
with they ran out of speeders before they got taken out. So
But I also feel
Yeah.
like they added the ATSTs in here. Like
Mhm.
I don't remember them being in the original movie. I could be wrong. I haven't actually watched the original version in forever.
I've only ever seen the special edition, and they were always
Yeah.
there. So I
the
don't
only
know.
reason why I think that they were there because they also look stop motion.
But we don't see them, like we see them in the one scene when they're all walking, and then that's it. We don't see them again.
They're in the background of another scene, real quick.
Are they? But
They
okay.
are.
Hmm.
That might have been an addition though in the background of that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so
don't think there was a lot of actual special edition added to this.
Mm-mm.
There were a few, like the scene where Lando is telling all of Cloud City to evacuate. Like that was added in there. When
was the stuff with Vader added in, like when he was like in his dome of fucking
Nope.
solitude or whatever?
that was part of the movie. The
Oh,
original.
it just looked way shinier than
I have a question about
the
that
rest of the
too.
movie.
They might have
Isn't
actually
that
spruced it
dome
up.
supposed to be a hyperbaric chamber so he can take his helmet off, right?
Yes.
Why then that one scene where whatever number 2 general who's going to die comes in and
Nita.
yeah, whatever, I can't keep track of him anymore. He's going through that like I go through toilet paper. It's so
Vader's all about moving people up the promotion line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he promoted Captain Piet to an admiral, just like that. He jumped up like 2 spots.
I feel like
I'd hate
half
to
of
be
half of the body count's just going to be these generals being promoted to admirals. I swear. But
anyway, sorry, continue.
didn't he walked in and the chamber is open, and that's when we see the scene of the helmet coming down, which is a great scene. But then after they talk, then it closes. Wouldn't his helmet have been off when it's closed rather than the other way around?
Yes.
That's how a hyperbaric chamber I feel like would work. Not that I know much about them.
Unless it was to reacclimate the suit. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it was actually
I think,
Vader.
I think you're trying
trying
to
to
put
freak him
logic
out.
into what they just wanted a cool fucking scene to
did
actually
we
show. what it
not
looks like
learn
on
from the
film.
last episode that this is my problem?
Yeah, I
This
got
is my toxic trait.
So
that. Okay.
go ahead, Chuck. I know you were
So
about to say something.
speaking of
I read.
problems, okay, I need to get this out because
Yes.
it's the thing that legitimately ruined the movie for a very long time.
Seagull
Did
stop.
the original? Was it the VHS special release had all the like documentary stuff
Mhm.
before the movies?
The
or was
20
that the
minutes before the
DVDs?
movies, yeah. No, it was the,
That-
it was the
I don't remember.
VHSs.
It was the VHSs. Okay,
What did I do?
I had
So-
to fast forward through it as a kid all the time.
okay. My not a friend, but kid I hung out with, first name, last name, Michael Cole. Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Dude, Michael Cole
He-
of WWE SmackDown?
I fucking know. The same level of
Is he related to Dan Cole?
no shocking. No, actually, that would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense.
One of those weird
But-
cousins issues.
Yeah, pretty much. He was famous for like if we were gonna hang out, it would be me watching him play video games,
Oh,
or
suck.
we would hang out and play something, and it would be reacting scene for scene like a movie, like
Mm.
Back to the Future. He loved Back to the Future, and us like playing would be like reenacting scene for scene. If I got something wrong, he would stop and correct me and tell me the thing I had to say.
Oh.
Okay.
So he's autistic.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. Like looking back at it, like obnoxious, not like the cool autism, but the obnoxious autism.
Not like the rest
So-
of us.
No.
Yeah.
Chuck is actually making a very
Yeah, yeah,
serious
yeah.
point. There is a big difference.
There's a very big difference. So he would make me watch the documentary part when he would want, like, let's watch Star Wars, and we had to sit on our knees for some fucking reason, like cross leg backwards on our knees, and I just
Wow.
I don't know, like when you like cross
No, I
your
said
legs.
ow, not
behind-
how.
Oh yeah, I don't know, it's fucking stupid, man.
Joey's thinking about doing it in a 40-year-old body. So
Yeah.
Dude, I tried to do it the like,
41-year-old body.
because my brain unlocked this like fucking memory, and I remembered like I tried to do it at the gym today, and I was just like, oh, this is the worst pain I've ever been in. This is awful. It hurts your knees and your ankles. Like, this is the worst. So he would make me watch it, and I didn't fucking care. I didn't care about this documentary shit. It was boring. But watching this scene, I remember that the point of this was George Lucas or somebody, whoever it was, wanted to was obsessed and fascinated with the Mongolians and the giant elephants of the Mongolians coming and trying to take the Great Wall of China. And that was what this was supposed to be. That's why the AT-ATs are in this scene, because they're supposed to be the giant elephants.
I do remember them saying they modeled the way they walk after elephant strides. I do.
Yes.
Okay.
You're
that all makes so much more sense.
But I hated this movie because it would absorb all of the cool hangout time, and then all I ever would see is right up to the Battle of Hoth, and then I had to go home. So I remember watching the Battle of Hoth because the first time I watched this was the day after I watched New Hope when I was 8 years old. And I knew that this was the coolest scene I had ever seen in my entire life. The Battle of Hoth is the thing that fundamentally made me love Star Wars. And I never got to watch it for ever after that because he would make me fucking watch the documentary shit. And I remembered I don't remember why I loved this movie for so much because I fucking hated it. I hated this movie because I never got to see the cool parts. Fuck you, Michael Cole, you piece of shit. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
One thing that was in the Battle of Hoth that was actually not in the movie, there was a deleted scene, is some Wampas breaking into the base, the rebel base.
Yeah, I remember
was supposed to have when they break in, and then the Empire comes in. We're supposed to have a scene where a Wampa grabs a stormtrooper and pulls him into a room and
yeah.
And I also remember them opening a door and a Wampa being in there.
There's if you see when they're walking through, when the Empire's walking through, there's a sign on one of the doors, and it's basically a keep out sign because there's a Wampa in that room.
And don't we get that payoff for Shadows of the Empire?
Maybe.
We get a payoff in the Star Wars arcade game, which was the one that you sit down in it cabinet, and it had a joystick.
Yes.
And you would go through the Hoth, and one of the doors would open. There'd be a Wampa there, and you had to quick double fire button to kill it, or it would hit you for a ton of damage.
It was the same thing on Shadows of the Empire. The first episode when you're in Hoth, if you went out and around the main path, you could open a door and there would be 3 Wampas in cages and you could actually let them out. I like that they reference that in multiple games.
Yeah, because I think it's also in the Lego Star Wars games. So
love it.
That's awesome.
Again, I wish that scene would be in this movie because that would have been cool.
The only one that's not in is Star Wars Battlefront. They never put the Wampas in Star Wars Battlefront, which was
lame.
I'm obsessed with that game. Oh my god!
In this movie, I had this thought way too many times. Do spaceships have heaters or air conditioners? Because in Hoth, I was like, man, you know how you're cold and you get in your car and turn the heater on, or you're hot and you get in and turn the AC on? I'm like, either on Dagobah or on Hoth. I'm like, I wonder if they have AC and heating. And also when you're in space, do you just have
I mean, they've got to have heat for in space because otherwise they'd freeze to death.
And then I'm like, do they have seat heaters? How fancy do these spaceships get?
That the Millennium Falcon does not have, heated seats.
No, because that's a 1967 Cadillac.
Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon.
Okay. Are we supposed to believe that the speeders are not actually built for battle? Because they had to do a bunch of shit to them. I know they had to get them prepared for the cold and stuff, but are we supposed to believe a harpoon gun is always attached just haphazardly? We're just lucky to have that?
I mean, I don't think they're actually built for this. They weren't built. I mean, like we just said, they weren't built for the snow. They had to build attach things to them. So I wouldn't having a harpoon gun on there.
Well,
why would you have a harpoon gun?
It's got to be a normal thing because they wouldn't have known the AT-ATs were coming in advance enough time to.
I wonder if they would just
maybe they were towing
for moving. Yeah, for
towing.
Yeah, it's called a tow cable is what they refer to it as.
Yeah,
I assume this is meant for it's a.
That's because they shot it into the AT-AT's toes.
Yeah, toe, yes, a tow cable. Good word. Good word. Play.
AT-ATs, apparently, just like the Death Star, all you got to do is just whack it in like its fucking weak point, and then just toss a grenade, one singular grenade up into its belly, and it
Chain
blows the
reaction.
whole thing up.
So,
I mean, that's kind of the Empire's like go-to for building things, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, make it look
That's right.
super menacing, but you don't have to.
I will
Yeah,
definitely say
it's
pop
cost efficient.
culture entertainment has kind of ruined the original trilogy for me. Watching this movie, that scene in particular where Luke does that made me think of the Family Guy episode when Chris hops up there, slices open the underneath, looks in, and there's a baby AT-AT, and he's just like, "Oh, this one's pregnant. You're doing it for the Rebel Alliance. Like you're in the middle of a war," and throws the thing in there. And then when I get to Dagobah and we're watching Yoda,
The
first thing I
sequel.
thought of, seagulls, stop it now. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I had to stop and actually go watch the video.
Okay,
because-
see, I've got that beat because when R2 falls in the water and that thing comes out and eats him and then spits him out, my note is literally R2 got hawk-tooed.
That's okay.
That's not.
Is
this
the-
episode
is the
not gonna
run,
age
Luke,
too well.
run-
3 years from now, people are gonna be like, "What are you talking
It's not
about?"
aging well now. She's already
I
kind of
know.
had her 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's true. Is the run, Luke, run to Dagobah? Is that the seagulls thing? Because that's what I always think
Not the
about.
seagulls thing. But what is that? I do know
Was
that
that-
one. I know that one too, though.
Was that by the same people who did To Kill a Mockingbird video? Like I felt like it was probably like Homestar Runner level like people.
I don't
Run,
know.
Luke, run to Dagobah.
Anyone
Run to
under the
Dagobah.
age of 34 right now has no idea.
No
what
fucking
any of
idea
this
what I'm
is
talking about.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, I hung out with the
Um,
autistic kids, man. Like they just watch the same video over and over and over again.
Yarn? No, that
Yeah,
can't be.
sounds weird. I feel like it was the younger generation that showed me that. But
Star
maybe
Wars
not.
gangster rap.
That's what it was.
Mhm.
Holy
Bent
shit.
frame is the
Yeah. Star Wars
thing.
guy, I forgot about it. Wow. That's a memory. Anyway,
yep.
I fucking hate Yoda in this movie. Holy shit, I forgot how much I hate Yoda in the movie.
Also, how
What?
stupid is Luke not to realize that's Yoda? I
I
mean,
know.
Well,
The
Luke's
one-
stupid. We
yeah, the
established in
living
the
thing
first
on the
movie, Luke
planet.
is dumb.
He didn't get
exactly.
smarter.
Like you
He
said,
definitely
there's
didn't
no
get
one on the
smarter.
planet. Yeah, no, it's
He's like the 20-year-old who thinks he fucking knows everything now. You know what I mean? Like he's fresh out of college, he's got piss and vinegar, and he's ready to just take on the world bullshit, and he's just the dumbest man ever.
Well,
Just making horrible life decisions.
a dude coming out of college who listened to NPR for 3 hours and now thinks he knows everything. That's literally Luke Skywalker. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a crypto bro. Like
I
he's
know.
literally just a crypto bro
Oh my
of
God,
like
yeah.
the Star Wars universe.
such a crypto pro. He's like, haven't you heard about the Jedi and the Force? No, dude.
speaking of Yoda says what do he say? Jedi use the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. And I'm like,
That's fake.
there are a couple
have a
movies
whole
otherwise that say otherwise.
It's revisionist history. He's trying to change the past.
Which I mean,
Look, it's because he's trying to run for president. Look how old he is.
That's
over 900. Yeah,
yes, that's true.
oldest one in
He also says, "Do or do not. There is no try," and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was established that only Sith deal in absolutes.
Yep.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
Also,
like,
I've seen-
I don't know what's going on there, but
he also said that he trained Obi-Wan, which maybe he had a class, like one of Yoda's classes at some
Yeah,
point.
Well,
and
Yoda or Obi-Wan says to Luke, he says, "Yoda, the master who instructed me."
Yeah, which that's
well, he didn't
Instead-
technically instruct him to go like fucking be a
Hide.
bitch all the time.
That's
yeah,
true.
He did instruct him to go kill his apprentice also. I mean, so
yeah.
hey,
How did
remember
Yoda
your
know
old
fucking
Padawan?
listen?
Why don't you go?
Yeah,
I mean-
actually, I am surprised Yoda was like, instructed I did. Listen, you never would. Like something stupid like that. I would love Ghost Obi-Wan fighting with Yoda the entire time, but Luke can't see it. So it's just Yoda just screaming at nothing. Oh my god.
That reminds me of like Evil Dead 2 when Bruce Campbell's fighting his hand. Pretty much, it would be the same
yeah.
thing.
Oh, if it was like spoilers, if it was like The Boys and Yoda just starts saying the C word over and over and over again to nothing, that would
Oh Jesus.
oh
Um,
man. Shout out to
So
The
there
Boys.
is a see if I can find it real quick. So originally, Yoda was not going to be in this. It was gonna have. Nope, I'm away from it. Apparently, it was
yogurt.
No. They were gonna have Anakin Skywalker. Luke was gonna find Anakin Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker, and he was gonna train him. Allegedly, that was in the first script, but then they kind of tweaked it and made it so that you got Yoda and then Obi-Wan as the Force ghost speaking to him.
Well, would that then apply that Anakin wasn't Luke's
Correct,
dad?
because he originally was not going to be.
Right.
And then they changed it. Obviously, they changed that part up, changed the ending. Because I don't remember. I'd always heard that, and I couldn't find it here in IMDb, but I'd always heard that the only people who knew the real line, the "No, I am your father," was James Earl Jones, was Luke Skywalker, was Irvin Kershner, and was George Lucas. They were the only ones that knew.
That's what I heard too.
David Prowse or whoever. David Prowse was the Vader body. Yeah, he didn't know. He had no idea because when he found out when he saw the movie, and he was pissed off at Lucas because like if I had known that, I could have done a little bit better body acting for that scene.
Interesting. So do they? I mean, know that they obviously put James Earl Jones stuff in post, but like, does he not know what the lines are? Does he not see James Earl Jones's like lines?
No, he does. Like he was. I think because he's speaking the lines so that whoever's acting against him knows.
Makes sense.
But he didn't know that wasn't the line that he said because that's not the line that was there.
What the original line was?
The original
I
line
don't remember.
I believe I heard was
I think it was like Obi-Wan was the father or something, right?
No,
Obi-Wan killed your father.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. And then I think he literally said like I killed him. It was like a pretty like stupid line if I remember correctly.
I could have sworn it was Obi-Wan killed him.
Maybe it was that.
I don't remember, but Obi-Wan was more involved.
Obi-Wan didn't kill him. He roasted him over a fire.
Well, we know that now.
Which, like, realistically speaking, also kind of makes sense. I mean, like, I know Luke Skywalker, or Mark Hamill knows that that the line is "I am your father." Yeah. But it also makes sense of why he's just like, Obi-Wan, why didn't you tell me? Why? And the other guy not having any idea why that line would fit.
Yeah.
So
wait a second. Yeah. You know how earlier in this episode we were saying that Luke and Leia, they didn't know they were siblings, and maybe the writing was that way because they weren't yet sure that they were going to be siblings. Doesn't Yoda say there's another referencing?
So that is, if I could find the thing,
it's almost like a one-off. It's like and at the end of as he's getting ready to leave because he's not supposed to leave, and
which I guess he's already in the ship. He's already in the X-wing leaving.
That's such an open-ended statement. I guess they're like throw that in there, and we'll just decide who we want it to be later. We don't need to worry about that now.
It almost makes me wonder if like the theory was that like Luke is actually supposed to. If Luke dies, we got one more, but I don't think it's supposed to be necessarily a Skywalker. I think the theory was like maybe it's like we have another Jedi as powerful as Luke could potentially be.
You're right. They probably did that because they weren't sure yet if Harrison Ford was coming back. The whole reason they put him in carbonite is because Harrison Ford was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Just kill me off. So the safe way was, okay, if Harrison Ford's not coming back, we can just say he's in carbonite this whole time. And they would have had to bring a third lead in. And maybe that's why they said this then too, to be like, oh, we can bring a third lead in as a secret Jedi.
Right.
And then when Harrison Ford did come back, they needed to kind of re-gauge a little bit and be like, now it's got to be one of our cast.
Because ultimately, it makes no sense that Leia is Luke's brother. Like, it has no weight or bearing to the story as a whole.
Other than they've known each other a little bit already.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
But like even and like then they have to like really fucking stretch and make it make sense and make it matter in 9, 10, and 11, which then it all doesn't need to. Like again, that whole story kind of just lifts right up out. Other than like they have to explain why Kylo Ren's like a fucking Jedi because Leia's a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Technically.
Well, she's got the Force, sensitivity in her, and just not as powerful.
Right, but
as Luke.
like that's where because it's genetic or
Yeah.
whatever. I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
It's
where
dumb.
is it?
It's just dumb. Like it was a line that they didn't have to make it. It almost feels like they were like, okay, we need to write out a reason why Leia wouldn't go with Luke, the lead of the movie. Like that's what it almost feels like. Like that's how my brain is registered is like we need a reason why Luke and Leia actually aren't going to hook up because Han and Leia is the actual love story here instead of just being that and like having like a man and a woman can actually just be friends. Luke and Leia could just be friends. We don't have to have this romantic aspect to it. I don't know. It always seemed really weird and like doesn't make any sense. And then they've spent years trying to like make it make sense, and it still doesn't make sense. And Star Wars is bad. Like Star Wars is not ultimately not like when you really start to like think about it, Star Wars is a bad story.
Well, I mean, to be fair, George Lucas isn't a great storyteller. He's a great world builder. That's
Yeah.
Right. Which
what it is.
And ultimately all he's doing is just retelling the story of World War II.
Yes,
Like,
and
Well, in Return of the Jedi, it's the Vietnam War.
Yes.
Right.
All right, here we go. I was taking me forever to find it, but so Lee Brackett's first draft of the screenplay contained the revelation of Luke's sister, her existence disclosed by the ghost of Anakin Skywalker. Referred to as Nelith Skywalker, Anakin explains that it was he, not Obi-Wan, who separated the twins at birth to protect them from Darth Vader. And then Nelith also underwent Jedi training in another part of the galaxy, so she could join forces with Luke to defeat the Sith. This concept was dropped in the second draft of the screenplay, along with the appearance of Anakin Skywalker, and replaced with the scene of Obi-Wan and Yoda discussing how they must find another apprentice in anticipation of Luke's failure. This too changed in later drafts, resulting in the more ambiguous scene in the final version where Yoda assures Obi-Wan that there is another.
Right.
I almost feel like
Mm.
retroactively, I wonder if anyone's mad that they didn't do the whole Force dyad thing for Luke and Leia.
That would have made more sense. But
yeah,
obviously that was not a option. Or not.
No,
Yeah, that wasn't
yeah,
even an
thought.
idea.
Yeah, it wasn't even a thought until recently what a dyad is
Yeah.
for the Force. Anyway, is Princess Leia actually still a princess if her whole planet's destroyed?
Only in spirit.
I mean, there's only one kill, so
Honorary. She's an honorary
Yeah.
princess now.
That's
I
true,
mean,
yeah.
we still call Princess Di, even though she died.
I mean,
that's because she Princess
died,
dead
she
now.
died as a princess, though. Leia outlived
she was about ready to get a divorce. She was about ready to go
but it didn't happen yet.
Anyway.
I
That's why she
do.
got died.
I see. I don't really think that they call her Princess in a nice way. Like Han, or
Yeah,
sorry,
Han.
my apologies.
Han?
His true Christian name Han. Apparently, Han literally like just calls her princess to be a dick the entire.
Yeah, he's antagonizing her the entire
Oh
time.
yeah, he's got that playground riz. Like
Yeah.
Until the end though, when he's like seriously talking to Chewbacca, he's like, you need to look out for the princess.
Well, to be fair, he's talking to Chewbacca like he's an idiot most of the time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of that scene, okay, so we've got I do like to question, and I don't think I'll ever get an answer, but how did the cuffs come off of Han when he got frozen in carbonite?
yes, I have that written down here too.
Yes.
That he had cuffs on, and then when he comes out, he's
and then also that scene was the first time since Revenge of the Sith that 3PO and Anakin Skywalker, Vader, saw each other.
Sure.
And when Han comes up and is in carbonite, 3PO says, Like, oh, he's frozen carbonite. That's perfectly great. Like as long as he survived the process. And Vader acknowledges to Lando is like, well, did he survive? And so like he didn't at any point just turn around and be like, hey, I know that metal golden.
Didn't I make you?
Hmm.
Don't they blitz his brain though? Isn't that like the whole thing?
Yeah, but not Anakin's.
Yeah.
Anakin
3PO's is empty. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Vader should have been like, hey, I know this.
Oh, I always thought
Vader.
when they were making him, like when they were Frankensteining him back together, that they erased a lot of his memory. They only keep the ones that they have to keep.
Apparently, we've learned now with the Acolyte that that's like a possibility to just Men in Black neuralize people.
Well,
that's like
I also think that because he was so like distraught after losing Padme, that the Emperor just kind of made suggestions, if you will.
Yeah.
Also, to be
True.
honestly, how many? There's got to be a lot of that, like protocol droids that look similar and sound similar. There can only be so many voices, right? Like he may not
but how
put
many
together
gold ones have a silver leg? Come on.
Well, we don't know. There could be, and he didn't know if there was a silver leg. The dude's in like chunks on the back of Chewbacca's back. Like,
yeah, but he also introduced himself as C-3PO literally every time he meets somebody new.
But maybe he didn't do it to Vader.
I mean, obviously he didn't. Anyway,
this movie actually does expand a lot of the like. I kind of forgot that like this movie does do a good job of, like the other things that the Force can do, like power wise. Like there's telepathy, kind of like they do the telepathy thing, which like I remember in like the last three, everybody was like pissing and moaning because there was like all these like new powers or whatever that the Jedi could do and stuff, and it's like there's a lot of stuff that they lock in this that like Luke does. That they did.
He like force jumps.
Yep.
Out of the thing, with some speed to it.
Yeah.
Telepathy, like you said.
Well,
which I feel like we don't see telepathy any other time. Like we don't see it in 1, 2, and 3 at all. They always have a communicator on them.
Yes, you're right there.
Yes,
although I feel like there was a moment where Anakin and Padme had like a link.
I don't feel like telepathy though is something that they like necessarily can control in the sense that he was in such like a state of panic that he could reach out, and it wasn't like he was being like, hey, I'm talking to you clearly like I am through a communicator. It was more like he projected a feeling, and it was kind of like then Leia felt that feeling. She's like, I think we need to go back to him. Like I have a feeling.
But he's also like barely a Jedi right now. Like he's only done like
he's had more training though. Like
he had
more training they didn't.
Yeah, there's a training montage.
And that training montage, I think, is a bit like it leads you in the wrong direction. I think he's been with Yoda for a while because they make it seem like he's been training for a long time.
Yes. Also, if we're going canon stuff, it's been what's the time frame between 4 and 5? Is it 1 year?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
If I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. In the novels, in the comics, they've expanded on his training. Because like in one of the novels,
Joey, I hate to tell you this, but if it happens in the book,
shut up. It's canon though. In the novel, in one of the novels, I can't remember which one, Heir to the Jedi, I think, he finds another lightsaber, a yellow saber, which then he like dismantles to help him build his own saber come Return of the Jedi. Which is helps why is able to do that.
Isn't there like a famous like they added in the scene of him building his lightsaber?
Yeah, at the beginning of Return, he's like in a cave in Tatooine, and he's like messing with the lightsaber, and it's the green one, and that's like his new lightsaber.
Yeah, I have that. Weirdly enough, I have that action figure.
Nice.
Yeah, when they did a re-release.
But speaking of lightsabers, though, in this one, why did it look sometimes, especially in that last fight, did the lightsabers look like they were 6 feet long?
They were just happy to see each other.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
And then
so
Leia is the first one to say it's a trap. So
hey,
just saying. Anyway,
Why are Han and Chewie such terrible mechanics?
You would think after having that ship for as long as they've had, they should know what.
Why don't they
goes
have
where.
at least one droid that they can hook up to find out what the fuck's wrong with this thing? And then finally, it's like, oh, we're just hook C-3PO up. He can speak 6,000 languages. Come up to the damn thing and figure it
But then
out.
they don't listen to him when they actually tells them what's
I
going
know.
on.
Yeah.
Poor, I feel,
The fall
you
of
know,
man.
the more I watch this, the more I feel bad for C-3PO.
Right?
Like, that dude
Well,
is
there's
trying.
like fucking Leia jinxes him. She's like, man, I hope I'm around when you make a mistake. And then,
Goes flying into an asteroid field.
yeah. But the would it help if I got out and pushed was also pretty fucking humorous because like you wouldn't think that's like a thing that they would have even as like a saying because it's not like they have cars where getting out and pushing would help.
Well, but they have speeders.
But speeders wouldn't. It also wouldn't help if they were getting out and pushing
I
because
know
without
that, but
that's what I'm saying. Though, like they wouldn't be a common phrase like it is for us, kind of like the hell thing.
that's what I'm about to say. Like they have a hell, obviously, because they will see them in hell. So
Also, speaking of the asteroid field, when they're having their little powwow on Vader's ship, and he's got like the two holograms of the guys, and the one just blinks out because his fucking command deck gets blasted by that huge ass asteroid.
I put
That made me laugh so hard.
every time. Oh, speaking of, so they go in the asteroid field. Apparently, as soon as they get in there, the Millennium Falcon, there are a couple asteroids that go from top left to bottom right, and then there's a potato floating down from top left to bottom left.
That's a great.
I actually went back and
That's
looked at it.
awesome.
Like, that's actually
A little
a potato.
visual gag.
Okay. There apparently was a shoe as well in one of the original as an asteroid, but that got digitally taken out.
That's so funny.
So speaking of when they're in the asteroids, they're inside that cave, and they get out, but they're still in an asteroid belt where they have no atmosphere. Like they would
just
have
walk out with like little gas masks on their face.
Yeah, they literally would have just they would have exploded or imploded. Like
They're in the guy's belly, the little worm's belly.
It's a gravity well worm.
And also, when they fly out of there, and she's like, "What was that? How did she not know that was a fucking mouth when they flew out of it? Like, how could she not tell?"
Oh, the cave is collapsing.
Yeah.
Again, she's the dumbest. Like, ultimately, she's the dumbest person. Like,
But
she
she's
doesn't know
also
that it's
so
mouth
smart.
closing up. Which, by the way, if that was a Jim Henson puppet, holy shit, that was weird.
Jim Henson was originally asked to do this, but he
But
couldn't because he was working on.
He did the puppet for Yoda.
Yeah, he did the puppet for Yoda.
He made the puppet, but he didn't do the voice.
Yeah,
That was
Frank
Oz.
Oz was the one who did the actual use of it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Jim Henson actually doing the voice.
He's
He
doing
had
the
Oh,
Muppets Great Caper.
He gets
yes.
because he gets credit at the credits. For
Yeah.
making,
yeah,
for
'cause
making
it's his
But
work.
I thought he was the voice of Fozzie though, and isn't it the same voice of Fozzie who does Yoda?
Wait,
Nope, Frank.
is Frank?
Unless Frank Oz does the voice of Fozzie, but I don't think he does. Maybe he does.
Maybe
Interesting. Does he do Jabba in 6?
Frank Oz does Kermit. Frank Oz is the voice of Kermit as well. I'm pretty sure.
Probably. Shout out to Kermit the Frog, like one of the best human beings on the planet.
Frank Oz was the voice of Fozzie in the Muppet Show.
Okay.
Richard Hunt was the voice of Fozzie in the original Muppets movie.
Oh, one more question for you fucking nerds that know everything about this. The droid bounty hunter that's with
IG-88.
IG-88.
Yeah, is that the same one from The Mandalorian?
Nope,
No,
IG-88
IG-88 is a
IG-13.
model.
11? I don't remember which one that was.
He's IG-11 is the one in Mandalorian. It's the
That's
same model,
right.
different droid.
Yeah,
IG is the like number.
class or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, class. Thank you.
Also, how come the Millennium Falcon can't handle back shots? Like,
You see that ass?
yeah, it's
Dude,
this
it's
fucking
burning up.
big.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
huge.
Listen, doesn't matter how big it is. If it gets hit enough, it's gonna go down. Like, shout out to my ex. Like, I'm very well aware of her. All right,
Alrighty.
smack that thing.
R2 getting the wrong hole when he's trying to communicate with the Cloud City.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to tell the difference between a communication port and an electrical outlet? Like,
Fucking virgin.
I also want to ask, so with Admiral Piet, did he just take the badge off of Admiral Ozzel? I mean,
Yeah.
Probably just picked it up.
Yeah.
and put it
yeah,
on.
that's like he just.
this is mine now.
I love it.
So does anybody else find it creepy how often Luke moans Ben's name?
I mean, when you're in the throes of almost dying,
Ben,
I guess you can get away with it.
But it's all the time. Like,
That's when he's in pain, I guess. Wait a minute.
I didn't realize that the Jedi were that much of a euphemism for Catholicism.
I guess. Anyway.
Also, like father, like son. Like
Yes.
the hand missing. Like that was nice. That was a nice touch.
I mean, I think it's the whole reason they did it in Attack the Clones,
Mm-hmm.
specifically because of that.
Yeah.
Poetry.
Um,
It rhymes.
At the end of the movie, when Luke and Leia are standing up, like in front of the like little open window thing there, they look like two kids playing in fucking pajamas. Like it seriously just looks like two
Doesn't
little
look great,
kids. It was terrible. Yeah, I got through all my notes.
Yay!
Oh wait,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Also, Luke is a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, we did.
So
that.
again,
We
like
knew
father,
that.
like
We
son.
We knew that.
Well, alrighty then. Anybody else got anything?
No,
Bosk
that's
is
all
the
mine.
fucking best. Anyway, that's it. We get to see Bosk for like 30 seconds. That was rad.
Yep.
Boba Fett doesn't do shit in this movie. I forgot. Like he's just walking around like a. He's walking around like a dude who.
He takes a couple shots at Han and Leia, I think, or Leia and Chewie, I think, or maybe it's Luke. He takes a couple shots at. I don't remember which.
I didn't even notice that. I'll be
Luke,
honest.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just love Bosk. The few comics I've ever read, Bosk is like the fucking best, and he has the coolest ship ever. It's the is it the Snare Tooth or Jack Tooth, something
The
like
Houndstooth.
that. Houndstooth, that's what it is. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I used to play that a lot in X-Wing. It's a sweet,
Nice.
yeah, sweet. Bosk is the best. Anyway, he's a
So
pilot.
Joey, kill count.
One.
One?
It's all one force choke. This entire movie, all one force choke.
No, there's 34 with one. So we also have a couple of lost limb counts. The Wappa loses an arm, Luke loses a hand, and C-3PO loses all of his limbs. So, yeah. Jordan, who has a bad feeling?
Leia has a bad feeling about ground being moist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes,
That's fair.
Bingo, Rommel.
All right, so we have misogyny, sexual innuendos, dying mentor.
Wait, hold on. Dying Mentor.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's still there.
That'd be dead mentor.
That's fair. Okay.
I mean,
we have
technically, Yoda is on his way out at this point. So
That's also true. He would
Yeah,
be
but
dying.
We
He's
get
not
that in the
dead.
second one though, or the third one.
You have government interference, comic book logic, a training montage, betrayal by a friend, animal cruelty, inability to control powers, unexplainable science, and the hero kills.
Wilhelm Scream. You forgot that one.
Fuck, I did. Yep.
It's twice in this movie, actually. Apparently.
Might as well just put that for every Star Wars movie. Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, because I think it is.
is it the Wilhelm scream, like when they're torturing Han or whatever?
No, that's one in the beginning on Hoth
When they get blasted, right?
One of the the
Turrets.
what are those things called? Turret. Yeah, thank you.
Uh,
Gets blasted, and then the other one is when Chewie goes ape shit just before they freeze Han, and he throws one of the stormtroopers off.
Gotcha. Oh, by the way, one of the best scenes in like cinematic history, with one of the best ad-lib lines ever.
Not ad-libbed, actually. I forgot we should have mentioned that.
Yeah,
Well-
discussed beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah,
It-
he talked about it. Georgia was like, "This line's stupid. Let's change it."
I mean, I there's a whole thing on IMDb about what it actually was, and I don't feel like looking it up because I don't already have things set up for.
If I remember
Goddamn.
from VH1's, what was the series that they did where they would like pick something from pop culture, like when Star Wars ruled the ruled the world or something?
Oh,
It would be
yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever the thing, like when Kiss ruled the world or
Yeah.
whatever. And he talks about the scene where he was reading the script. Harrison Ford was reading the script, and he was like, the original line was supposed to be "I love you too," and he was just like, "This
Something like
doesn't."
that,
Yeah, he's like, "That doesn't." Han wouldn't say that in this moment. He was like, it doesn't do well for the character. And so he went to George Lucas and he was like, let's change the line. What if I just said like, I know, this moment? And Lucas was like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care.
Well,
like he was like so occupied with like something else at the time, and it becomes like the most iconic scene in the movie.
I think it was with both Lucas and with Kirshner that
Yeah,
they both were just like, yeah, okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
which like realistically, yeah, it makes total sense.
Exactly.
He's already been allegedly betrayed by his friend. Which, by the way, Lando, not a bad person.
No,
He did exactly what he needed to do to protect the fucking everybody else.
I always
The
when I
needs
was
of the
younger.
many outweigh the needs of the few on that. I mean,
No,
on.
you're all right. Like I agree with you. Lando was protecting his city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was protecting his people. When I was younger, I always wondered why or how the Empire got to Cloud City before them.
Yeah, because
More
they were
recently-
following him.
Well, Boba Fett was following him, but they had no hyperdrive, so they couldn't, pop over there. Whereas the Empire has a hyperdrive; they could easily just,
yeah, but how did they know that that's where they were going? Because isn't it
Well,
hidden?
once you get
That's
to
the
a
whole
certain
thing?
point, I'm sure that you're like close enough that you're like, well, there's only 2 places he can be
Yeah,
going, so
like-
maybe just send everyone to these 2 places.
And I think Boba is just like following trajectories, following paths. Like, all right, so looking at the map, we're going this way. I think this is it. Let's go there.
Gotcha. I
Also,
will say,
Boba
Lando
Fett
was
might have also known of the connection between Han and Lando.
That's true.
Possibly.
what I'm wondering too. But they also like, to be fair, my only defense in this is like Lando fucking definitely baited him into it. Like, it isn't until like the reveal. Like, if they were really friends, Lando should have given him a heads up.
True,
Like,
but also
in
they
some
weren't
way.
friends.
Yeah, he stole
Yeah, that's
the Falcon from him.
They never were really friends.
Well, but I mean,
They
kinda
did
were.
stuff together, but that's not being a friend.
It's true.
I
They
do stuff
definitely
with
did some
people at
butt
work
stuff.
who are not my friends.
That's true.
That's true.
So
Also, Lando just ditching the droid. Like, where's
Lobot?
that relationship?
No, yeah, I mean, I guess we don't see Lobot in return, do we?
Nah,
Mm.
it's messed up.
I think there's stuff in books that you don't read, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's true.
Correct.
Chuck, Spawn
Yeah.
King.
I mean, I think this holds up. I don't really notice anything that looked egregious like it did in New Hope. That's for sure. Other than like a few things here and there, like I don't think it was nearly as bad.
If I remember correctly, Empire and Return, they didn't do as much
Mm-mm.
like adding. Well, let me rephrase that by Return. There's the whole dance number in Jabba's
Sure,
palace.
but that's like one thing. I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one
that-
kill.
No, they also add the Sarlacc into the
Yeah,
Sarlacc.
they edited.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah,
But
but
this
they
one,
put
okay,
in
so
a bunch
this one.
of. They put a bunch of stuff at the end too.
But
like,
very
Yeah.
specifically, this one.
So this one, so Empire,
Right,
they
but
don't
this was
really mess
specific-
with it
I
a
don't-
lot.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything that was like bad. Some of the
I didn't
puppetry
like the
isn't the best.
add-in for the Cloud City, like the longer
It
fly-in.
was a little. That was kind of annoying. Like I said earlier,
I must
when
not have
Lando's,
been like looking at it because I don't remember it being bad, but
it wasn't bad, but
It
just
wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good either.
a little too glossy.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the scene where he's telling everybody to evacuate, and you see
Yeah.
it going through the city. It's like that didn't really fit with the rest
Right.
of the film. So,
true.
also gotta give a shout out to the guy running through Cloud City with the ice cream maker.
Classic.
I can't remember what that's called, but
it's a classic cosplay at all the Star Wars
I'll say
celebrations.
when I went to Celebration in Chicago a couple years back, there was like so many of those guys.
Yeah, when I went to
great.
Anaheim right before Force Awakens came out, I think they had like a photo shoot where there were like 150 of them all together in like one photo. It was
Wonderful.
ridiculous.
So great.
Anyways, Chuck Spawn Cape.
I'm gonna say, I don't know, 36 out of 71 Spawn Capes.
So 50%.
Yeah. I mean, those numbers are pretty close, so it's fine.
Yeah, if they're close, they're better, I guess.
Oh no, wait, they're supposed to be further away. Shit.
Oh,
Further
you
away
messed
better?
up
I don't
again.
remember.
Yeah, the further away they are, because if Spawn is the control,
It's 1-to-1. Yeah.
it's 1-to-1. So
There's nothing I love more than an arbitrary sliding scale that we don't have any idea which
yeah,
side's good and which side's bad.
you're supposed to divide it, and then you get your decimal, and then that
You're
is
supposed to
be your
divide it
number.
and then add 238 and then divide it by 2, and then you
Yeah.
have Fahrenheit. There you go.
What? Listen, it will all make sense when we get to Spawn. I swear to God. Like
we
it'll be fine.
we're a ways away. Actually, we're whatever.
No, we're
Anyway,
closer than
so
you think, Joe.
we are getting there. Jordan, out of 10, what do you give this movie?
Decimal point.
8.98.
There you go.
Oh wow.
8.98. That's a good
I think
one.
it's pretty good. It's not my favorite still in the sense that like I like it more than I did when I was a kid, but it's still, I don't know. It's not going to get above a 9 for me, but close.
That's fair.
Oh.
Chuck.
Okay, is this a Star Wars movie? Yes, I think it is the better of the Star Wars movies That being said, rewatching this, I think it got knocked down a little bit. Now, we have talked on this show before of like goating your first two, right? They go into the Hall of Fame of your favorite movies of all time. They kind of come off your list. What does your list now look like? If I apply that logic to this movie, and then I try to bring them back in, man, I don't think it's number one anymore. It's slow in parts.
I know you were worried about that last week.
Yeah, I think the nostalgia of this movie really keeps my score really, really high, because I remember like 8-year-old inner Charlie just losing fucking mind watching this on like a CVR, like little tiny 13-inch television.
VCR?
Just coming back from is that what it's called? CVR? Am I right?
CVR is the TV. No, CVR is a
Oh, is
TV. Yeah, a CRV
Yeah.
TV is
okay.
one of the square TVs that has the deeper blacks that does the RGB that you used to plug the Nintendo into.
Oh,
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So I was right. Yeah, because it was a shitty little fucking thing. Little tiny 13-inch screen, losing my mind watching the Battle of Hoth. Like this is the thing that made me love Star Wars. And I love you, I know, like that a moment where he needs to be strong for his friend and this woman that loves him, and he just like a fucking pimp is just like, I know. And you're gonna come fucking save my ass, bye. And like gets frozen and like all of this shit. Like it's so good. And Vader actually is like a badass in this movie, not just a jabroni walking around. Actually does stuff and kills a lot of guys for no reason. But do I like it? Do I like it more than Rogue One? I don't think I do anymore. Would I give Rogue One 9.96?
Hold on. Let me get there. You gave Rogue One 9.98.
9.98. It's almost a perfect movie.
Almost.
9.1. Which no longer makes it in my top. I mean, it's goated. It's up there forever. I have the Battle of Hoth tattooed on my arm. I can't say it's not my favorite movie anymore, like of all time. Like, I think if you take it out, I don't know if I don't know if I could put it back on after I've like put it in the Hall of Fame. I don't think I get to let it come back and have a match. You know what I mean? Like it's on a Legends contract now. It stays over there.
Nice.
Ron?
All right. I like this movie. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie, but it's definitely not my least favorite Star Wars movie. I still enjoyed watching it. It did seem like it was really long. I felt like it was dragged out a bit. For like there were certain slow parts in it that probably could have been swapped out for some a little bit more exciting parts, or made like the exciting parts longer. But whatever. I'm gonna give it like a 7.69. What about you, Joey?
That was low. Okay.
That's kind of a little low, but arguably this is the best Star Wars movie of all time. The story's solid. The fact that when this movie came out, being the second Star Wars movie, and the heroes lost, like that's an amazing thing. That's something that you don't see very often, and they did it wonderfully. I really like this movie. It is. I mean, I like Star Wars in general.
And yet you haven't fucked to it.
Probably because I'm too busy watching the movie. I don't know.
It's too good. It's too good of a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a whole different tier of movie.
Yeah.
Oh, if you go longer, Joey, you should put this on. That's what it sounds like, buddy. Start thinking of.
I might have to
thinking about
actually.
Luke and Leia making out. That will.
Yeah, you'll be
brought-
like,
No, that's gonna be
No, see,
counterproductive.
But here's the problem. If I put this movie on while I'm fucking, Emily and I will both just stop and watch it because we both love Star Wars.
I've heard about consensual
wonder what
sex,
that-
not consensual unsex.
Yeah.
What
But
that's like.
like this movie's great. I feel the time. I know all three of you said that it felt long. I think it felt fine, but I've also seen this movie so many times. Like when I watch Star Wars, when I was a kid, I'd watch all three. I wouldn't just watch one; I would watch all three back to back. And it's not in my top 5. I think I don't remember what my list is at, but it's up there. Like it's a great movie. Actually, I think it is my number 5. Now that I think about it, either way, wonderful movie. I gave it an 8.28. Like it's. I still think A New Hope, being the very first one,
Mhm.
you know, it starts everything. And this is the next progression and the best progression. Man,
They definitely
maybe not the
they
best. I
definitely
do
had a
like the
budget
idea.
and like spent it. Like you
Yeah.
know when you want your sequel to be bigger and better, it was bigger and better, and they had a budget that showed.
Yes.
Minus the
Um,
AT-AT armor, but that's a whole lot.
They had a budget that George Lucas completely paid for himself, but it was a bigger budget.
Well, that's also because they were going over budget, and
Mhm.
I think he either lost the loan or was almost going to lose the loan
Hmm.
from wherever he went. And apparently he went to 20th Century Fox and asked for more money or a loan from them, but they would get like so much back as long as he kept like something. I can't remember what it was, which turned out to be bad for 20th Century Fox because of how much money this movie made and how
Hmm.
much money
That was
George Lucas
stupid.
made.
They should have seen that the fucking this movie was printing money, but
Well, especially after the success of the first one,
Yeah.
yeah,
and they all were
But
just
remember,
like,
sequels were never the moneymakers back then.
correct.
true.
And then this one comes out and it's like,
Mhm.
holy shit. So with our combined score, we have got a total of 8.51,
Hmm.
which puts it at our new number 2.
Wow.
Nice. Is Rogue One our number 1 then as well?
No. It's our new number 2 overall. It's our new number 1 for Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
No,
Rogue One-
because Ron
no,
knew
A New Hope is
You're
A
right.
New Hope is the number 1. It's sitting at number 3 overall, and then Rogue One is sitting at number 6 overall.
Okay.
because Ron nuked that score.
3
Ron
now,
made
yes.
sure that one didn't. Yeah, damn
Yeah.
right he did.
What is number 1? Dick Tracy. What is number 1 on the list?
Number 1 currently is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker,
Gotcha.
and
For some
Our-
reason.
our new number 3 is Superman from 1978. So
Oh, what a
Yeah.
list.
look.
Yeah.
we have
great.
had a lot of different people on here to help us out in the past.
Yeah, sometimes there's 3 scores, sometimes there's 2 scores. And,
Superman had 2
Drastically.
scores, and Batman Beyond had 3. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Anyway.
do?
that is the only issue. Like, if we had a consistent number for each one, we might be able to actually have a consistent score. Like, outside of making Chuck watch all of these movies and giving us a score, we're just gonna go with what we got.
Yeah, I barely have time to watch the movie a week that you make me watch.
Yeah,
and I had to watch Nightcrawlers, which was a
Yeah,
very good
had
movie.
to.
Everybody go watch that. Listen. I do keep a promise. I said I'd watch it before we finish this. So
Okay. I mean, you
And I
still have
had
like
time
4
to-
other movies.
I had time today, so I was like, I'll fit it in.
Okay.
Anyway, if you wanted to help us in any conceivable way monetarily for the amount of work that specifically only Joe puts into this show, because Ron and I don't do shit.
Come on, man. I've made like 2 shirts.
True, you got 2 more they're supposed to make, so
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I'm still looking for that alien Union Buster.
Yeah, the Alien Union Buster.
I need to wait for the episode to come out that we covered that on, because I don't remember the whole
I just
idea.
edited it today. I can cut it and send it to you if you want me to.
Do that.
Okay.
Head over to patreon.com/professional casual. 301, that's the tier. That's the spot. I'm sure there was a word that I could have used that rhyme there, but it didn't. Anyway, yeah, so do that. Patreon.com/professional casual 301 tier. At some point we'll get paid. I don't know. I think he's taking the Raise Energy business model of, even though we hit our minimums, we still don't get paid because he has no money. So shout out to Elite Showdown, never getting paid by Raise Energy. RAPPsports.com. Yeah.
Dang.
The fuck did you do that for? We aren't getting paid to them at all either.
Professional casual at checkout. Listen, I do like their energy drinks, but we sent them an email like, hey, we hit our minimum. We haven't gotten a check yet. And they were like, yeah, we don't have money to pay you. Sorry.
Jesus.
We're like going out of business if we try to actually pay our sponsor, like our affiliate link stuff. It's like,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, they give away a lot of fucking shit. It's America.
That's kind of
Yeah, I know,
fault then.
because Tim was always talking about getting free shit from them.
Yeah. Well, he does pay for a membership, but it is the whole thing anyway. Joey.
Yes.
Oh, where are we up to? Oh yeah.
Hey,
Jordan, where can they find you?
Yeah, where can they find me? BS
Yes.
and Craft Beer on Instagram. Hey Ron, where can they find you?
Chuck.
Chuck, where can they find you?
You can find me Kicked Out of the Hood, No Ian Kicked. You can find my hobby page, Out of the Hobby, No Ian Kicked. Where? This is coming out in August, yes?
This is coming out. Yeah.
Oh,
End
cool.
of
I can talk about it. I will be doing a put together of Fallout factions. Welcome to
Nice.
Nuka World. I'll be putting that all together and doing a collab with that. But I can't talk about it until technically August. Other than the fact that I have it in my hand, but the collab part I can't actually talk about. So very exciting stuff. And yeah, so that's what I got going on. Head over there, Kick the Hobby, No Ian Kicked. Ronald.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Good at This Game. You can find my art on Instagram at Good Art This Game, and I finally linked that in my normal Instagram to my other Instagram because who knew, right?
You can also just like get a link tree and put that in your Instagram. And
That's true, but I plan on doing that when I get my OnlyFans. See, so like,
I mean, I've got a link tree. I think I put it on my. Did I put it on my Instagram? I remember. Instagram or Threads.
Actually link OnlyFans into link trees and then put it on Instagram. It gets flagged. Just so you know.
Really? Because
I think you can do it on Twitter.
You can do it through Twitter. You cannot link adult content to Linktree and then put it in your Instagram, because Instagram will search the link to see if there's any adult. I know a lot of people do it.
Because I've seen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've seen that quite a few times. That
yeah. Except for if you try to open the link in the Instagram app, it flags it and doesn't let you look at it. So that's why they don't want you to do it.
Gotcha.
And then that sends a report, and the person who has it gets it flagged. So a lot of the time, the link sends you to their Twitter or X, and then from there you go to their actual Linktree OnlyFans. Or they have a link tree to the link tree. Anyway,
Joey, where can I find you at?
I do have it on Threads or Instagram and Threads at Comic Book Rundown. I actually do have the link tree on Comic Book Rundown, which links to this podcast, to Walk Through the Multiverse, through I think also to like DC Comics Alliance and whatever. Basically all the shit I do. email comicrundown@gmail.com. Rate and review us on your podcasting app of choice. If you do, we'll read it on an upcoming episode. We've got merch over on Redbubble and TeePublic with new merch coming periodically. So always check that out. I mean, we usually say it here when we have a new shirt up. So yeah. And then our song was done by Cam. Dr. Father Cam.
Dr. Father Cam. That's right. PhD.
Yep. Our
huge
next movie, we're going to be watching Predator from
Oh,
1986.
fuck yeah!
Ooh.
I have never seen this movie.
What?
I've seen bits and pieces. Never seen it start to finish.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
It is something, that's for certain.
It's so good.
It's a classic 80s Arnold movie.
Yes.
It is a treasure trove of one-liners
Mhm.
and memes and
Jesse the Body Ventura making sure
God,
his arms
we should probably do a meme count on it or a one-liner count.
That's not a bad idea. Okay, we can do that.
Oh, dude, I'm so horny right now. Yes, this movie is like one of my favorite movies, except for one scene kind of ruins it all for me, and we'll get to that next week. But
Anywho,
perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening.
Hey.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
bye.
Scooby Doo.